Hey, this is Jim at Broadfield. Thanks for joining us again this week for another 15-minute dealer webinar. Today, we're bringing at you this live webinar with some cut-ins from Jeremy at Atomos, who was in town last week for NAB New York. That's right, we were there at NAB New York, and it was a great show. If you're going to be in the New York area next year, next October, you should definitely come out and join us. A lot of our vendors are out there. We had a booth ourselves, but we also had a lot of opportunity to walk around the show floor and to check out Atomos in their private meeting room. Before they set up their meeting room, we had them come out to Mineola here and give us a little bit of a presentation on their new products, including the Sumo, which is this guy that you see right here in front of me. The Sumo is their new 19-inch monitor. It's available in two models. The monitor only is the Sumo 19M at $19.95. And then the monitor with the recorder, playback, and all of the great Atomos features is the regular Sumo 19 at a $24.95 MSRP. And with that model, they're having a promotion right now where you can also get a free sun hood. That free sun hood promotion is fulfilled by Atomos directly, so it doesn't change the way you sell the Sumo monitor. You can sell the Sumo 19 monitor, have your customers fill out an online form on atomos.com, and they'll receive that free sun hood, kind of an after rebate type of thing. So without further ado, let's pull up this video of Jeremy talking a little bit about the Sumo 19.
Hi, Jeremy Young coming at you from Broadfield Distribution, Long Island, New York. Love this town. So what I'm here today to talk to you about is a couple of things. First one is the Sumo 19, Sumo 19M. We've got an update 8.4, which gives you a lot of new features. You can record 240 frames a second in RAW on the Sumo 19 from VeriCam LT, which adds to the 240 frames a second RAW we can do from Sony FS5, from the FS7, as well as some Canon cameras. So check out the list of RAW capabilities. And the main thing that this does, it's a recorder, a playback deck, an edit device, and a monitor all in one. And not only is it a monitor, it's a really big, fully capable HDR monitor. And what that means is we solve for you all of the issues shooting HDR. Many of the cameras have been pumping out log, which equals HDR, but a lot of people don't know that. If your camera's got log, then you have HDR capability and you can start to promote it to your customers. And we understand that some of these things are a bit baffling. So what we've done in 8.4 is give you the full suite of tools automated, provided the camera's outputting the right things, which most of them are because we're working with those camera makers to make this seamless for you. So we recorded this in S-Log, but inside this file is a flag that tells us which format it is so that we can turn our monitor into the fully auto HDR functionality that allows you to produce properly. So what you're seeing here is a 3200 HDR right at this end. If I bring up the menu, you've got HDR and SDR slider, and we're right at the SDR end. Look what happens when I go to the SD. We're right at the HDR end. We're right at the SDR end now, and we're blowing everything out. That's what would normally happen if you were trying to shoot really open, getting full light into the pixels. What HDR allows you to do is turn up the exposure, get a lot of light into the pixel, get really clean pixels, and getting really bright pixels. And now our monitor can resolve that for you. So look at what happens when I move towards the SDR end. I start to resolve all the detail in the cloud. And you can see my waveform here is moving up the HDR slider. Now, at this point, I don't even know that there's some lightning in the shot. However, as I resolve more and more of that dynamic range, which is brightness range, dynamic range is just another word for brightness range, as I go further to the top of that, now I'm fully exposed my blacks, so you can see all the cloud detail, and I'm showing the really bright points. Why can we do this? Because we have a 1200 nit engine behind here, and we control every pixel, every color space, every brightness of those pixels, and we control them so that we can turn this into what your eye saw, just like the camera saw, taking in all of that brightness range. Your normal TVs can only display this. So what we'd have to do is stop the whole image down and we get noisier and the image doesn't show true to life what the actual image looks like. Whereas my eyes, when I shot this, could see those lightning strikes. So let's play this through. As we play more and more of this footage, you'll start to see some pretty impressive colors and color spaces coming from here. So if I just pause that, what does it look like in SDR? Well, it's completely out of range, which is what we're normally seeing. But as I move the HDR slider and resolve more and more of this, why can I do this? Because I'm recording log. I'm recording either raw or log, which has all this information in it. And what I'm doing is showing you if you finished for an HDR TV, which all the TVs in the electronic stores are HDR capable, it would look like this. It doesn't mean that I have to finish like that. It means I've got the option to finish like that. I could finish like my current TV standards and it would still look fine because I can take whatever range of brightness I want, either this range, or the whole range, which is what I'm showing you here. I still get my blacks. As this is moving, you can still see all the detail in here. Rec 709 or SDR, you cannot capture that. Look at those colors. Look at what happens when I come back. I lose a lot of those pristine colors. As I bring it into range, now I can see how much detail is in these clouds. For all those creative people, it means that you can be more creative. It means you can capture more of what your eye can see. When you imagine something and you can see it with your eye, you don't have to compromise on your camera anymore. Provided your camera's got log, you can shoot HDR today. There's more automated workflows coming with HLG and PQ, which we read those flags over HDMI, so we've taken care of that for you. That's all in 8.4. If you've got a gaming unit, we can record from that. And this goes to all of our Inferno series, the 7-inch, which is 4K P60 and HDR, or down to our 4K P30 versions, the Flames. And they start from $750 and go all the way up to $1,295. The Sumo is $2,500 for recording. We've got the Sumo 19M, which is monitor only. We get all these features monitoring from the camera and all of the wonderful peaking and all the tools that we are famous for, really easy to use. You can see I can use the operating system even if I was a 5-year-old. That's not to say creative people can't use tech products. It just means you don't have to think about it and you can get on with being more creative, and that's what we're about at Atomos. So that's the Sumo 19, Sumo 19M, 8.4, all the way to the Infernos. You can now record 240 frames a second from the LT and FS5, FS7. Killer upgrade.
I hope you enjoyed Jeremy's video. I know it's one of the better demos that I've seen, and I know his team at Atomos and our video production team here at Broadfield worked really hard to be able to show off the HDR capability that these Sumo monitors are capable of. I know when that lightning strike all of a sudden appears from underneath the clouds, it really gives you a good representation of exactly what the Atomos monitors are capable of. We also had Jeremy showcase some of the new converters that are coming out. Some of these converters are going to be rolling to us very shortly, with some of the other ones probably about 2 or 3 weeks away. Once we get the shipping information on these converters, your Broadfield salespeople will reach out to you. But these Atomos converters are what we nicely refer to as the Space Invaders. There are 6 different classifications or a series of converters to kind of meet every tool and every application that they could be needed for. Jeremy does another great job here going over some of these different converters and where they are best used.
So the second thing I want to show you today is our range of converters. You can see we call them Space Invaders because we made them different colors. We couldn't really name them all ninjas and samurais. That would have been a bit difficult. What we've done here is we've looked at the converter market, and there's 2 types of converters. There's the Pro AV converter that does everything, up, down, cross conversion, and goes to 1024 for old projectors and 2048 for cinema, etc., and connects to any protocol, takes RS422 down the line, etc. So analog's really important. Frame rates that are cinema frame rates are important for the Pro AV guys. Broadcast frame rates are also important, and to the broadcast and pro video community, they need 60p, 30p, 24p, 5994, lots of different formats. So most converters only do one or the other. These do both. We've also added a bunch of features that we think are important, like removable ears. These things sit on the side and allow you to mount it, but you don't have to mount them like this. You could put them all in a rack the way they are right now. We've got locking connectors for DC power. We've got locking connectors for obviously SDI, as well as HDMI with a small lock there. So you can use cables that have a locking mechanism to make sure that it doesn't come out. You can mount it anywhere. It has USB power as well as DC power, which means you can USB power it from a 5-volt, 1-amp source. Pretty easy. Got your iPhone charger with you? Plug it straight in. This is USB-C, USB type D-type connector sitting there on. You can connect it to the computer and set them all up in one go, or you can just use the dip switches on the side to allow you to flick things on and off. And we have a full range of, these are the analog ones, the blue ones. We've got scaling where you can do those different types of weird scaling like 1024 or going from 30p to 60i and 3.2 pull down and different things. And then we've got syncing as well, where we're putting a Genlock source to sync everything together so it becomes a frame sync product. And then we've just got our standard SDI to HDMI, which goes for about $95. So these go from $95 in HD all the way to about $395. And then at the top end, we've come in with these killer 4K converters, which do quad link to 12G SDI and 2.0 HDMI, and vice versa, coming in 2.0 HDMI and going to single link 12G and looping out the 12G SDI. We also do overlays of waveform monitoring and audio level meters, as well as vector scopes and time code over the top, so you can turn any Dell monitor, etc., into a broadcast monitor, which makes it really cost effective. You can also run HDMI cameras long way, or HDMI feeds from switches, etc. You can run them a long way by converting to SDI. So bunch of cool stuff around the converter range. Why do we think these are important? Because you need a full range. You need to trust it. So imagine these as the most affordable on the market, just like other players, but with the quality of the more expensive ones. That's what Atomos always delivers for you. So really affordable, $95 all the way through to $595 for the 4K converters, everything in between. We've got all the ranges for you, easy to understand, color-coded, so you can just order them in. Take a look at atomos.com. Go to broadfield.com and check out all of the wonderful things in our distributor's backyard.
We do have the newest Atomos price sheets with pricing on all these converters available from your Broadfield salesperson. The pricing is also posted online at broadfield.com with your dealer login and password. But we could run through the family very quickly as well. They're the basic SDI to HDMI Connect Convert series that start at $99. SDI to fiber, fiber to SDI for $185. And then the 4K models with scaling and overlay at $595. The Connect Convert scaling converters are $350 MSRP. And then the yellow Space Invaders with SDI to HDMI with scaling is $248. Your sync converters, SDI to SDI or HDMI to SDI at $398. And then you have a splitter or a repeater, SDI repeater. The splitter is $198 and the SDI repeater is $119. Again, we have these products are the Sumos. The Sumo 19 and the 19M are both in stock and available now. In addition to the stock units, we do have eval units available. So if you do have a sales opportunity where you think they want to check out the monitor first, give your Broadfield salesperson a call at 800-634-5178. You can speak to Rich, Dan, John, Angel, or myself, and any of us can help you get all the information on the Sumo monitors or the new Atomos converters or any of the other Atomos products, including the Ninja and Shogun series products. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you again next Thursday.